should be live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I'm posting a few things. Stand by. We'll wait for more of you to come. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Let's see who's out there. Is there anybody out there? No one is out there. Wow. Okay, two of you are out there. Nice. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. Okay. Hey, good morning, Elizabeth. Good to see you. All right. I'm going to post a few more things today. Some homework solutions, some new materials. Just stand by for that. I'm going to wait for the classroom to fill up. Got to make sure that the board is working. Let's see. What would be... All right, so the board has some text on there. You can just check to see if it's operational. Greatly appreciated. And just post whatever I wrote on the board. We're getting there. Let's see. All right, let's check. I am here. 5 of you. Good morning, Blue Jays. Yes, Blue Jays. Good, it's working. Only reason why I say that is because there are a lot of them where I live. I live in Queens. I don't live anywhere like so crazy, but by St. John's University, so like maybe like a mile or maybe like a mile and a half from there. So there's a lot of trees. So I see Blue Jays every single day. The only issue is that they're hard to, the minute that I approach my door or like the window, like they fly away. But they're really pretty. That's a quarantine talk for you. Those are some highlights of my day. Blue jays, squirrels. I know, very exciting. All right. So I'm going to post some stuff now to our classroom. All that is coming shortly. Some learning materials. So you'll have Chapter 5 learning materials. All right, so the materials are up. I'm going to also add the solutions to the homework. That's coming in a second. Thank you for posting some positivity. Um, if you go back in about like 30 seconds, there's going to be a couple of other things added. I'm going to add the solutions to the homework. And I'm going to give you a review sheet as well. So yeah, we have an exam coming up. I have to figure out how I'm going to give you the exam. I know, probably the last thing you want to hear. Okay, so yep, the solutions are now posted to the homework. They're in the stream. I just edited the post. They're all there. I'm also going to give you the materials for exam 2. So that's going here. So everything is now in the stream, in the class work sections. So if you can please just look. So that's all there. Okay, so everything should be there. Should be able to see it. Exam 2, review materials. Chapter 5 stuff. Let's see if there's some feedback in the channel, or in the chat, excuse me. All right, so we're all here, about 11 of you. Thank you for the like, whoever that is. Good morning, Irene. Good morning, Sarah, and everyone else that's out there. So take a moment to look at the solutions for the homework. Take a moment to look at the review sheet for exam 2. It's going to look overwhelming. I'm going to give that to you now. The whole thing is I have to figure out how to give you an exam. Projects are simple to give. That I can return, but the whole thing is the exam. For those of you taking AP exams, it's essentially open book. I'm pretty sure you know about that. So if there's anyone here that's taking their AP exams in like the next 2.5 weeks, you're going to have an open book exam. Good morning, big smile, Leanna. That's nice. Yes, Leah. Good morning, Blue Jays. I've grown to like them, and Cardinals too. There's Cardinals here. And there's a unique looking cardinal. I never knew that this was a thing, where they're not red. It's like kind of gray, like a gray coated cardinal, but with a red tip, like a red feathered tip. Like the wings have red feathering or like red tips. It's very interesting. Good morning, Edgar. And FYI, I never thought in a million years that I would be having conversations about birds. Yeah. So how life has changed. How life has changed. All right, but we're all together, so that's a positive. So yeah, there's some materials. I'm giving you about a minute or so to look at all of those materials. We have chapter 5, learning materials. So you can take a look at that. You have the PDF. I'm also going to upload the PDF for chapter 4. I'm going to delete the PDF that's there now because it doesn't have the solutions. And I'm going to add the PDF of chapter 4 with everything that you need. Yeah. So now you should have everything that's necessary. So again, take about another minute or so to look at that, and then we'll move on to chapter 5. So a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. I believe that, in thinking about how I'm going to give the exam, so again, you have now the chapter 4 stuff, it's all there. If you look in the classwork, chapter 4 PDF, it has everything that you need, all of the solutions to every single problem that we went through in the chapter. So you have that now at your disposal. You have exam 2 I put there in the classwork. It's a review sheet, so if you open that up, we should look at that now. Um, some of it should look familiar to you, some of it is homework, so you already have a good number of the solutions. Other stuff may be kind of new, but again, like there's a lot of stuff that's circled. I'm only going to give you a fraction of this. Um, or a fraction of this is going to be assigned or given on an exam. Again, well, let's see, hold on, where are we? Okay. All right, yeah, so we should be looking again now at the exam 2 review sheet. So go to the classwork section, take a look at that. You're going to open it up. You're going to be overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of circling. Um, I'll give you the next few hours, or at least this day, to kind of ingest all of that. I am not going to assign every single question. I will not. I'm not cruel. I'm going to look at the questions that make the most sense, and then I'm going to narrow it down. So don't worry. And a good number of those questions I think you have already answered in some type of form, so it's less work for you to do. But in looking at that and scrolling, I don't know how many pages there are a few, but in scrolling at all of the circled questions, if you're able to say to yourself honestly, yeah, I know how to do this, then we're in a good position. So that's the whole thing. So I'm giving you everything that you need um, in order to feel comfortable to take this exam. So now the question is this exam. What will it look like? I'm probably going to use Lumen Learning to some kind of degree. So the question is this. So look, if your AP exam is going to be an open book exam, right? So again, you should know that by now. I hope your AP teachers have shared that information with you. So again, if it should not be news to you, but for those of you that are not taking AP exams, I can share with you that the AP exam this year is open book. How I feel about open book? Uh, if you know what you're doing, you don't need a book. If you don't know what you're doing, you need a book, but then you need to know where to look in the book, and that could be extremely time consuming. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. But I would imagine that the exam that I give you will be something like that. So you'll have resources that you can use. But just so you know, I read an article today that at some point, whether it's the Department of Education or your future college, again, we don't know how long this is going to go, this type of learning, which is called remote learning. If it extends into the fall and some of you going into college, I think they're going to now start not so again, this is what I read. Again, what I'm saying is, you can look at this and verify it with other sources, but in the one source that I read, it's that they're going to have students install software so that this software will not enable you to cheat on a future exam. So I don't know what that means. So it's almost like Big Brother, right? So there'll be eyes in your classroom, which is essentially, I don't know, your bedroom maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure where you're taking your classes. I have no idea where you are in your places right now. You could be in your bedroom, you can be in a dining room, living room. I don't know. But regardless, there's going to be the potential for software to monitor your behavior as you take an exam. So this is all stuff that could potentially be a reality. What do I want to be a reality? Let's go back to a physical building when everything is okay and clear. And that's kind of been the norm for a while. But if this becomes the new norm, it's kind of a heads up. So anyway, with all of that being said, are there any questions that you have for me? Any questions for me? How's Academy going, by the way? Everything okay with your Academy classes? All right, there's silence out there. I hear crickets. Okay, so I hope everything is going well with your other classes. Um, and yeah, we'll keep it at that then. Okay, so Cindy said yeah. Okay, I guess that's in response to your class is going well. Well, that's good. Yeah, they're fine. Oh, thank you, Brittany. Thank you for sharing that. Cindy, I hope you have some awesome cereal this morning. I won't forget the cereal that you had back at Academy. Pseudo cereal, whatever that was. Off-brand cereal. Okay. All right, let's move on. All right, so we're looking at chapter 5. This is the last chapter. Um, this is the last chapter. So I thought about the second project, actually. Again, I'm going to grade your projects this weekend, so hopefully by this weekend, your Jupyter is going to be completely updated and you'll have your grade, your most current grade. Can anyone there in cyberspace tell me when the marking period ends at Academy? Good morning, Gianni. I believe that it ends next Friday. I'll stand corrected. Academy Land. Again, when is the marking period over? I think it's next Friday. Okay. But anyway, the marking period is going to be ending soon. So yes, in thinking about the second project, I will not forget the words of a few of you, but I believe there was Valentina that started it, that she wanted it to be more engaging. May 1st, thank you, Irene. So she wanted it to be almost student generated. And I'm kind of cool with that. I'm very cool with that. Thank you, Leanna. So again, going back to this second project, I'm most likely going to create a shared document. I'm going to add all of you as contributors, and you can make the second project. You can tell me what you would like to contribute to, and then that will be how you will be assessed or graded. So I'm okay with that. I like the idea. So again, you can thank, I just recall Valentina off the top of my head. It could have been others, so I apologize if I forgot. So again, the second project, it will be coming, and you're going to tell me what that project's going to be. We'll decide as a group. It'll be, some kind of shared document. You can go back and forth, and then an idea will be solidified. I'll approve it, and yeah, so that'll be it. I want it to be fun. I like that Valentina essentially said that. Fun, engaging, exciting, and down. All right. So moving on. So chapter 5. Yes, this is the last chapter. After this, let's see. I'm still thinking about ideas. I'm thinking about an idea. I promise, but I haven't had any groundbreaking ones, and that's okay. That's okay. At least you're thinking. So again, I'm responding to Valentina's comment. No, that's fine. But you're one individual. There's another 20 or so of you in here. So hopefully the collective can come up with something interesting. And then you just bounce ideas off each other. Go back and forth, delete, amend, add, subtract, however you want to say it. So hopefully at the end you have something polished that everyone can agree to, and it should be interesting. It's so frustrating that I can only read what you're saying in my other school. It's completely different. We have live video conferences. Students are participating. Students are on camera. It's very, very different. Very different. If you all had a Microsoft account, I could have live video conferences with you all. There's no lag. There's no delay. Nothing like that. But at the end of the day, this is how it is. So, in other words, I miss every single one of you. That's what I'm trying to say. I do. I do. But I'm glad that we can at least have this means to communicate. All right, so let's move along. So chapter 5, circles, angle measurement, and trigonometry. So if you look at all of those topics here, again, none of this is new. So most of this is going to be a refresher material, but in that every single topic, we're going to add a little bit more than you may have had experience with. So there are new elements in here. I have a Microsoft account. Oh, thank you, Josh. All right, but it'll have to be everyone. And then it gets a little bit complicated. I'd have to call you individually. You'd have to join, and this is fine. This is simple. I give you a link. You do that, and we're done. It's a little bit more involved with Microsoft. But anyway, let's move along here. So this first unit, what is it going to deal with? Basic terminology and degree measure, standard position and coterminal angles, radian measure, converting between degrees and radians, arc length on a circle, and area of a sector of a circle. So everything here you should have covered at some point. The only thing that may be an issue, maybe a radian measure, because again, it depends on the teacher, if they covered it in detail or if they covered it at all. If you had me in geometry, I'm pretty sure I covered this to some degree. No pun intended. Converting between degrees and radians, I believe that you should have done that in the past. The only thing here that, again, just in looking at this again, it may be radian measure, but the thing is this, and the reality is that you haven't done this in a while, so it may appear new initially, but give me a few minutes and it will change. You missed my snapping of the fingers? Anyway, so what's going on here? The circumference of the unit circle is 2 damn pi. Okay. Oh, I love this Seinfeld one. I hope you got that. O divided by H Feld. And then what is this? I have to zoom in. So let me see. Hold on. I'm going to zoom in. And you see this. Hold on. So here's tangent, there's sine, there's cosine. And it's saying now if you'll sine here and cosine there. Wow. 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 I did not make that up, ladies and gentlemen. That is not an original joke. My only crime is that I try to look for these things. So cut me some slack, please. That is my only crime, that I go out of my way to find this stuff. But it's for your benefit. I hope that came across on the screen. I'm sorry if it didn't. Oh, it didn't. The way that this is cropped and scaled, I'm sorry about that. But this should be okay now. I'm zooming out. I hope it is. Sorry about that. Sorry about the delays. There's a lag. But I need to make sure that you can see all of this that's happening. Come on. I'm sorry. I'm just some difficulty here. There we go. Better, better, better. All right, so some basic terminology. So 2 distinct points determine line AB, line segments, rays, again, something that's measurable on a line, we call a line segment. And here a ray, so you have one endpoint and it extends indefinitely to, or in another direction. So we can think about it that way. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. I'm sorry, there's a little bit of a lag, so I hope this is better. Okay. Other basic terminology, angle, or how an angle is formed. It's the meeting of, or it's 2 rays with one shared endpoint. So 2 rays are the sides of the angle, and the common endpoint we're going to call the vertex. All right. So other basic terminology. So the angle's measure is generated by a rotation about the vertex. So again, so if we think about it, from the vertex we have one ray, and then if we create a second ray with that common endpoint, and we essentially translate the ray or move it, or rotate the ray, if you will, it's going to create a measure, or an angle measurement, excuse me. The ray in its initial position is called the initial side. The ray in its location after the rotation is the terminal side. So if we're looking at this example here, essentially the horizontal ray, we're going to call that the initial side, or where the angle begins. So think of it that way. And then, so here, basically this. So if you're looking now at the whiteboard, I'll clarify that very quickly. So we have the following. So here we can argue I'm at 0 degrees. We'll make that argument. This is 0 degrees, completely flat. So you're looking at the whiteboard right now. That's supposed to be a degree symbol. I'm so sorry. So that's 0 degrees. But the second that I create another ray, then let's say here. So now this could be something like 30 degrees. So this bottom ray we call the initial side, and where the angle stops, let's say, for lack of better words, or where this other ray stops to form this angle, and again, this is counterclockwise movement, we're going to call this the terminal side. Think of it like the Terminator, or terminating, right? That's it. That's where it stops. So again, going back to that discussion of counterclockwise, counterclockwise will dictate a positive angle measurement. So the rotation of the terminal side of an angle is here, the positive angle. The negative angle, the rotation of the terminal side, is clockwise. So again, something to think about. So I believe the word is missing here. So I apologize for that. So again, counterclockwise, positive. Clockwise is negative. So here, if we're looking at degree measure, the most common unit for measuring angles is the degree. Complete rotation of a ray gives an angle whose measure is 360 degrees. So 1 out of 360 of complete rotation gives us an angle whose measure is 1 degree. And we have different types of degrees, or angles, excuse me. Acute, right, obtuse, straight. So all this should be pretty basic stuff. So hopefully, if you forgot, now you are refreshed. So now this is where it's going to get a little bit confusing. So how we can express degrees, or how we can subdivide a degree. So we can express a degree in subdivisions, but these subdivisions have names. Subdivision is minutes, and then seconds. So you can think of it to some degree. Obviously, you're probably thinking about time. Yes, there's some affiliation with that. There's some logic with it. However, this is specialized notation for degree measure. And then the whole thing is this: where is this used? You know, this is kind of not relevant. But if you think about maps, latitude and longitude, this is essential or standard measuring. And it's definitely used if you're on a ship or a boat or navigating. Those types of maps, they speak with degrees, minutes, and seconds, so that this way you can accurately pinpoint where someone is. And if you've caught Money Heist, again, the show that I keep talking about and bragging about, I believe that they used this measure, or degrees, minutes, and seconds, to pinpoint the location of someone. So it's relevant. It is. And you can throw this in. I think if you look at Google Maps, if you look up a location by degrees, it will go minutes, seconds, and it'll give you the exact location of where something is, or even where you are. Drop a pin, right? Drop your pin. All right, so if the pin can reveal the degree, minute, and seconds, then you'll know exactly where you are, anywhere on the earth. Kind of scary, but that's math. So you should have your Chapter 5 handout out now. So you should look to that. It should be in the class, where is this? So we go here. Go to your classwork. It should be in Chapter 5, and there's some Chapter 5 learning materials. And if we go there, the PDF, right. So it should say degree measure, radians, sector length, / area. So it says to perform each calculation. So here, just some terminology. So X, degree measure, the subdivision, Y, minute, and then Z, second. So that's the notation. So if we look at the first example here, so what we want to do is we want to add these specific values here dealing with degrees and minutes. So the question is this: how do we do that? So let's look. And some of you, I remember when you were in geometry, you probably bought a compass set, right? Let's see, hold on. That guy in the meme is Jimmy McMillan? Who? Oh, I'm sorry, Josh. We'll talk about that later. Jimmy McMillan. Okay. Anyway, so going back to this. I lost my train of thought. So when we want to now add, so we're looking at this, right? Let me just pull up the classwork itself. So we have 51 degrees and 29 minutes. So we want to add that with 32 degrees and 46 minutes. So here's the thing, the subdivision. So if we look here, so the subdivision is 1 minute is 1/60th of a degree. Let's see, it was in the 2 10. Oh, okay. I thought that you were, Josh, thank you for that. I thought you were talking about the GIF for 1 second. That was also kind of memeish, but thank you. Thank you for clarifying. All right, so 1 second is 1/60th of a minute. So again here, if we look at the amount of minutes that we have, we can add this. We can add this normally, right? So if we think about the degrees, let's add the degrees first. So if we add the degrees first, clearly here what we're going to be at 83. But we have a subdivision that's left over here, right? Because if we combine that, clearly we're going to go over 60 minutes, right? But then if we go over 60 minutes, then that's a degree, right? So there's the conversion. So 1 minute, right, is 1/60th of a degree. 60 minutes will give us 1 degree. So if we add this, I mean, we can combine what this becomes, what, 75? But out of this, if we take away 60 minutes, excuse me, this is minutes. So if we take away 60 minutes from here, that's going to leave us with 15 minutes. But this 60 becomes 1 degree. So that we're left with 84 degrees and 15 minutes. So let's look here. So that should be the solution. I'm going to project everything, but using this this train of thought here, or this approach, right, where you're dealing with the subdivisions of degrees. So I want you to try to subtract 90 degrees and 73 degrees in 12 minutes. So I want you to do that. So take a moment. And then I want you to post a solution in this chat, please. So again, you're going to try to subtract 90 degrees, and what was it, 73 degrees and 12 minutes. And I want you to post a solution here. Oh, wow. All right, so I'm going to share a link on the whiteboard. Let's see, can I chat with you guys here? I should be able to. Yeah. So let's see if that works. Does it work? I don't think it does. You may have to copy and paste that. So essentially what I copied was the actual degree, minutes, and seconds, and how that relates to longitude and latitude. And if you're able to get that to work, then you'll see exactly that location. So it's interesting. Do we have an answer? So let's look. So I know it might be a little bit confusing, but let's look here. So if you look at example A, when we combined, right, if we go over 60 minutes, there's going to be a degree, right? There's going to be clearly a degree that we can utilize. And then that difference is going to become seconds. So, right, 90 degrees, right? So we could. So that might have been the confusing thing here. Or hopefully it came to you logically, right? Because 90 degrees, if you think about it, you could write it as 89 degrees and 60 minutes, right? So you're borrowing essentially 1 degree to convert that to minutes. So that when you do in fact subtract, you'll be left with 16 degrees and 48 minutes. How are we doing out there? Any questions so far? I know it's a little bit more abstract, definitely not something that you're used to, I think, unless you're doing this, you know, regularly, then that's cool for sure. But I have a feeling that a lot of us probably are not doing this. Did you get the calculator? Have you downloaded the calculator? So that's a question that I have, because it's going to be very beneficial, especially when it comes time for an exam, if you don't have a TI. I hope you did. I hope you took advantage of that. So let's move along. So the next one now is going to be this. So if we look at the next example. So let's look. Next example is to convert now, right? So we want to convert 74 degrees, 8 minutes, and now 14 seconds, right? So we're looking at the board, and we want to convert that now to a degree measure that's going to be in the nearest thousand. So something to think about here. If we just subdivide this or represent it differently, so we know that 74 degrees, that's in its basic form, so we can rewrite it as such. But if we think about 8 minutes, really that represents 8 degrees, or 8 out of 60 degrees. So something to think about. And then if we look at the next part, 14, that is a subdivision, but 14 out of 3,600. So that will give you a degree measure. So when you add all of this together, so this is the complicated part, right? Because if we go back to this slide here, again, 1 minute is 1/60th of a degree. So 1 second is 1/60th of a minute, but that the word of implies multiplication. So 1/60th of 1/60th, right? Then we're multiplying 60 times 60, which is 3,600. So when we look here and we combine all of this, so we have now our degrees, minutes, and seconds ready for conversion, you should have something like this, an approximation. So then this becomes about 74 and 137 thousandths degree. So now what I want you to do is to use the same logic now. So the same logic, and I want you to try to now convert. So this is going to be a little bit more challenging, but I want to extend your thinking here. So if we have 34.817 degrees, now how do we express this? How do we express this now in minutes and seconds? Degrees, minutes, seconds. So I want you to take a moment to try to do that. And I'll help you because you know that you're going to have 34 degrees plus something. Right? So don't forget the subdivision. Right? Don't forget the subdivision. So the way that I would approach this, wait, let's see if we have any feedback in the channels. Oh, good morning, Mamadou. So remember the subdivision. So you want to figure out how many minutes you have, right? So that should be number one, right? But 60 minutes gives you 1 degree. So if you think about this, what we need to do is we need to figure out how many minutes we get out of here. So if we multiply this by 60, then that's going to give us an approximation for the minutes. And just to save time, I'm going to show this to you. So that you can see the logic here, or exactly what's happening. So 34 degrees, again, that's broken apart with the fractional component. That fractional component is multiplied by 60 because you're trying to determine how many minutes that you have. But when you do that, you're still left with the fraction. So you clearly have 49 minutes and then another fraction. But within that fraction, that's going to represent seconds. So then you have to figure out really how many seconds you have. And here, if we approximate, we're going to have the following: about 34 degrees, 49 minutes, and 1 second. So the homework today, we're going to make it a little bit light. We'll keep it to the review sheet. I think we'll do, how about this? Let me take it back. So the homework for this weekend, I'm going to give the try on your own. So this you can experiment with. Do this. I'll post this all on the stream, so this way you have it. But the homework is going to be this. I don't want it to be too much. That's number one. Number two, I don't want this homework to be too much because I want you to start thinking about preparing for the exam. The exam is going to be 1 week from today. Let me write that here. And you're going to also have that written on the stream. So here, exam 2 will be next Friday. And that is what, May 1st? Wow. Is that right? May 1st? Yeah, wow. May. Incredible. So, again, the review sheet, I will clarify that, and then you can focus on answering those questions. But tonight's or this weekend's homework, what's going to be due on Monday, will be very light, extremely light. This way you can focus most of your energies on the review sheet. Review sheet will be due, though, on the 28th. On April 28th, Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. All right, ladies and gents, any questions for me? Any questions for me before we say farewell, adieu, sayonara, ciao? Any questions for me before we wrap up today? I'm taking the silence as no questions, that everything is clear, that today's lesson, although brief, there were some components that are new. But again, I had to spend some time at the beginning of the lesson just clarifying some things. We need to send you the review sheet when we do it. Okay, That's a good question, Liana. So, um, in this case, because it's not the most friendly handout, I'm going to first identify the questions that you need to answer. That's going to be number one. I'm going to identify the questions that you need to answer. It's going to be a manageable load. Because right now, if you were to do all of that, it's going to take a little while. I mean, could you get it done in a few hours? Probably, but I'm going to make it manageable, focused, so that this way, when you do the work, well, the work will most likely be done. You'll do it on loose leaf or some type of paper. You'll take pictures of it and you'll send it to me. It will be something like that. But I'll definitely give you all of the solutions that you'll have. I'm just trying to think what else. It's going to be manageable. So again, it looks intimidating now, but I'll make it work. Other questions? Anyone else? Okay, so if there are no further questions, again, you can always email me. You can message me. I'm here. I'll be around, and I apologize that I'm not the quickest at responding because once I leave here, the next moment that I'll have free, and I'm not even joking with you, will probably be between like 6 and 7 p.m. Because now, like, pretend like I'm leaving academy, like with my suit on and everything, and running to my new school. Luckily, I'm just able to jump to another computer, and that puts me there. But it's just very busy for me, and I hope you guys are understanding. And I think you are, and I appreciate all of that. So, again, I'm here, and just be patient with my responses. And thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. And we'll see each other on Monday. Have a great weekend. Rest up. Complete the work that I'm giving you, which will be on the lighter side. And watch Money Heist. That's all I can say. Watch Money Heist. Netflix. See you later, Cindy and company. Have a good one.